Yo, somebody tell me why the entire internet is melting down right now because out of all the plot twists we thought we'd get in 2026, Stefon Diggs publicly apologizing to Cardi B was not on the bingo card like at all. I mean, seriously, are we in the Twilight Zone? Did Mercury go retrograde and start doing backflips? Because why is the same man who is out here juggling baby mamas like payment cards suddenly standing in front of the world saying my bad? And before you start thinking, oh, this is just another PR stunt, hold up, because the way this apology allegedly went down, the timing, the tone, the energy, it's giving plot twist, it's giving season finale energy, it's giving the internet will never recover from this vibes. Ask yourself this. Why would a man who spent weeks posting cryptic quotes suddenly crack? Why would the king of I'm unbothered energy suddenly start bothering? Why is the man who fumbled a woman that entire countries tried to imitate out here doing what men never do, admitting he was wrong? Because trust me, whatever you think happened, that's not even half the story. Buckle up. This scandal just reopened the chat. It's wild how a story that started as simple celebrity breakup drama has now cracked open into something way bigger, way messier, and way deeper than anyone expected. Because when you really look at how this whole thing began, when you trace it back to the exact beats, the tiny moments, the red flags people ignored, the whispers that came weeks before the firestorm, you start realizing this was never just about a split. This was never just about a football player fumbling a superstar. This was a slow-moving collapse, a ticking clock. A man who thought he was bulletproof finally being hit by every consequence he thought he could outrun. And now after everything, we're supposedly at a point where Stefon Diggs is apologizing publicly for how he treated Cardi B. But to understand why that apology even matters, you have to walk through how he got here in the first place, step by step, crack by crack, because it didn't start with the Super Bowl. That was just the explosion. The leak began way earlier, weeks before anyone saw it. There were already whispers that something was off between them. People noticed that Card's posts got quieter, less supportive, less present. And that was strange because all season long she had been loud, proud, and fully in his corner, gassing him up like he was carrying the entire league on his back. She didn't miss a game. She didn't skip a moment. She was there every Sunday in a full glam look, screaming from the stands like she was the head coach. But then January rolled around and suddenly there were fewer posts, fewer appearances, fewer reactions. And when she did speak on him, the tone was different, softer, shorter, like something was already cracking under the surface. Then came February 8th, Super Bowl Sunday, the night everything shifted in front of millions of people who didn't even realize they were watching a breakup unfold in real time. Stefon walked into that stadium with the weight of expectations on his back. Patriots fans were looking at him like he was supposed to save the entire franchise. The media had hyped him up as the key factor in the game. And everyone knew Cardi was supposed to be there cheering him on like always. Except something was off from the moment she arrived. A reporter caught her before kickoff expecting her usual over-the-top supportive energy. And instead, she dropped the coldest good luck anyone had ever heard. Not a smile, not a wink, not a joke, just two words that hit like a breakup announcement disguised as small talk. The internet caught it instantly. You could feel the shift online. People clipped it within seconds, asking why she sounded like she was wishing good luck to a stranger she bumped into at a gas station. The comments went crazy. Something was wrong and everyone knew it, even if no one had the details yet. And Stefon, he played exactly like someone whose life was falling apart backstage. Completely off. No touchdowns, no spark, no presence, like he wasn't on the field mentally at all. But the real storm wasn't even happening in the game. It was happening around the stadium because Kiki, the mother of his son, was there with their baby posting in his jersey, acting like she was the only woman connected to him. And that alone would have been messy. But it got worse. Her baby was born in September. Card's baby with Stefon was born in November, 2 months apart. The math was matting in the messiest way possible. And then pry on other woman, linked to him, was allegedly at the Super Bowl too with what looked like team credentials. So now the internet was trying to process the possibility that 3 women connected to Stefon were in the same space. Same stadium, same night while he was tanking the biggest game of his career. And then rumors dropped that after the loss, instead of dealing with the heartbreak, instead of talking to the woman he claimed he wanted a future with, instead of consoling himself with his newborn son, he allegedly snuck another woman into his hotel room. Whether it was true or not didn't matter. People believed it. Because in scandals, perception becomes truth long before facts do. Cardi left the stadium at halftime. Not after the trophy ceremony. Not after checking in on him. She didn't wait. She didn't look back. She had reportedly paid $1, $2 million for an afterparty that never happened. And she walked away from the whole thing like she was done paying emotionally too. By the next morning, they had unfollowed each other. Entertainment Tonight confirmed the breakup. Cardi dropped a simple "done." That was it. And honestly, that silence was louder than any rant she could have posted. Because when Cardi is loud, she's still in it. When Cardi goes silent, it's over. But here's where you really see the divide. While Cardi was moving forward, Stefon's world started collapsing. His career was suddenly in question. His public image was trashed. Offset was clowning him. 50 Cent was trolling him. Every meme page had him trending as the guy who fumbled the bag. The relationship, the game, the reputation, all in one night. And unlike Cardi, who was outperforming, laughing, glowing, talking about self-love, Stefon went quiet. Quiet in a way that made people ask if he was okay. Sources close to him claimed that this was the moment reality finally caught up. He wasn't posting quotes anymore. He wasn't playing tough guy. He was sitting in silence, holding the consequences of everything he'd done. The overlapping relationships, the lies, the chaos, the way he told Cardi he was different and then proved to her in every possible way that he wasn't. And the kicker, the newborn, his son, the tiny pair of eyes looking up at him like he was supposed to be someone worth looking up to. But the moment that supposedly hit him the hardest, watching Cardi on tour, watching her perform in front of thousands, watching her talk about protecting your happiness, and knowing deep down she meant him, that she wasn't subbing another celebrity, another ex, another moment she was talking about the exact pain he caused. And the fact that she didn't break, the fact that she was thriving without him, that's what broke him. Because Stefon had convinced himself she'd eventually reach out, that she'd forgive him, that she'd come home. But week after week, she gave him nothing. Silence. And for someone who had always been chased, always been forgiven, always been given one more chance, that silence was the first door that stayed shut. That's the moment people around him say something shifted. That's when the reflection started. And it wasn't soft reflection. It was the kind that knocks your ego straight off. It's thrown, which leads to the whispers, the rumors, the alleged apology, the moment the internet can't stop talking about. And whether it's real or not, whether it's public or subtle, whether it's scripted or raw, the fact that people close to him say he did it means something. It means the man who thought he was untouchable might finally be facing the one person he couldn't outrun himself. And this apology, according to people who've seen it or heard it, it doesn't beg for her back. It doesn't try to fix the relationship. Doesn't promise a reunion. Simply admits what he did. Acknowledges she didn't deserve it. Acknowledges he was wrong. And honestly, that's where this story starts getting deeper than anyone expected. This video begins exactly where the air got heaviest, right at the moment people started whispering about that supposed apology, because once those rumors spilled onto the internet, everything shifted. The energy changed. The timeline went into full meltdown mode, and suddenly everyone wanted to know the same thing. What did Stefon Diggs actually say? And even more importantly, why now? Why after all this time? Why? After the world dragged him like he personally ran over someone's grandma with a Patriots-branded golf cart. Because according to the people who were supposedly in the room when all this went down, this wasn't some publicist-written, neatly packaged apology full of generic statements like, "I'm learning and growing and I make mistakes, but I'm human." No, the whispers claimed this was raw, messy, vulnerable. The kind of apology you write at 3 a.m. when you're staring at your life like a house that burned down and you're standing in the ashes holding the matches you used. And the most shocking, this video, it wasn't made for the public. It wasn't even made for his fans. According to these sources, this apology was made for Cardi. Period. Whether she ever responds or not, whether she ever hears it from him directly or through the internet or through people close to her, it wasn't for damage control. It wasn't for press. Wasn't for damage control. It wasn't for press. This was allegedly Stefon finally admitting something he hadn't admitted to anyone, not even himself, for months, that he messed up. And not just, "Oops, I made a mistake." Know that he systematically destroyed the one relationship he claimed he wanted to protect. And he did it because he couldn't stop the chaos that followed him like a shadow. But let's rewind for a second because before this alleged apology made its way into the public consciousness, something happened behind the scenes that very few people know about. And if the sources are right, moment is exactly what triggered everything. Sources say Stefon watched a specific clip of Cardi on tour clip where she wasn't rapping, wasn't dancing, wasn't joking. She was talking to the crowd about happiness, about protecting your peace, about walking away from anything that drains you. And you can see it in her face. She meant it. She had lived it. She had survived it. And in that moment, she wasn't a rapper on stage. She was a woman who had walked through emotional fire and come out glowing. People close to Stefon say that clip hit him like a truck. Not because she was emotional, but because she was free. Free in a way she wasn't when she was with him. Free in a way that showed she had healed past the point of return. And that realization that she didn't need him, didn't miss him, didn't look back was the moment something inside him cracked for real. That's when he stopped arguing with the narrative. Stopped trying to prove the internet wrong. Stopped posting those dry, emotionless Instagram photos, pretending everything was fine. And instead, he started thinking about what he actually did that led him here. And this is where the story turns from celebrity drama into full-blown investigative chaos. Because the apology wasn't just about the cheating. Oh no, it was about the nights Cardi spent in confusion, the lies she tried to piece together, the overlapping timelines, the baby mama drama, the silent red flags she ignored, the way he convinced her he was different, only to embarrass her publicly before millions. Sources claim he admitted all of this, every detail, even the ugly parts, the ones he never wanted on the internet. But here's where things get even stranger. Before the apology rumors broke, several anonymous team insiders started leaking information to blogs, and their stories all matched. They all claimed the same thing. Stefon had been in a dark place. A real dark place, not the fake "I'm taking time for myself" darkness celebrities pretend to go through for likes. No, the real kind. The kind where you shut down emotionally. The kind where you stop answering calls. The kind where even your closest friends say they barely recognized you. The kind where you start thinking seriously about everything you've lost. One insider even claimed he wasn't eating. He wasn't training. He wasn't himself. Another said it was the first time he saw himself the way everyone else saw him. Reckless and out of control. And when a man whose ego has been inflated for years suddenly sees himself clearly, that's when apologies happen. But let's talk about the public reaction, because the internet didn't waste a single second. As soon as the whispers hit social media, TikTok detectives went crazy. YouTube commentators started stitching clips. Twitter turned into a courtroom. Half the internet was screaming too late. The other half was saying, at least he said something. People debated whether he deserved credit for taking accountability, or whether this was all PR to fix his image. And that argument went viral instantly. But here's the thing. If this was PR, it was the worst PR move ever, because no publicist would recommend apologizing this late, this quietly, this emotionally. Publicists like clean, polished, airtight statements that sound like I wrote them. They do not like messy admissions of guilt. They do not like raw honesty. They do not like words you actually mean. So if the apology is real and everything suggests it is, then it means one thing. He did it for him. Not for us, not for the fans, not for the cameras, for himself. And maybe, just maybe, we're the tiny part of him that still respected Cardi as a human being. He hurt. But while Stefon was having his internal crisis, Cardi continued thriving publicly. Tour dates sold out. Fans screamed her name. Her performances got even more emotional, more powerful, more heartfelt. She was glowing. And every time she stepped on stage, the world was reminded of the truth. She moved on fully, completely, without looking back. And that's what made the apology sting even more for him, because he wasn't apologizing hoping she'd come back. He was apologizing knowing she wouldn't. But let's get deeper, because there's a part of this story the public hasn't heard yet. According to insiders, before Stefon reached the apology stage, at a moment what sources called a breaking point that triggered everything. That breaking point happened when someone close to Cardi reportedly told him, "She doesn't think about you anymore." And apparently that hit harder than anything else. Not the memes, not the jokes, not the trolling, not the career fallout, the idea that Cardi didn't miss him. Not even a little was the moment he realized this wasn't temporary. He wasn't waiting for a call that wasn't coming. He wasn't repairing a relationship that wasn't wounded. It was dead. That was the moment he wrote down his first real apology draft. And from there the story spiraled. Now the internet is speculating whether Cardi will respond. But if history has taught us anything about Cardi B, it's this: silence is the response. And that silence is loud enough to shake him harder than any angry rant ever could. This video begins exactly where the tension was. Thickest right after the apology, whispers turned into a full-blown internet firestorm. Because once the apology rumor went public, everything that had been simmering under the surface suddenly exploded. The blogs went feral. The fan pages started dissecting every syllable Stefon ever posted. The comment sections became digital battlegrounds. And suddenly what started as an apology rumor turned into a national conversation about accountability, ego, fame, and the cost of embarrassing a woman who stands on business. And the wildest, this video, the apology wasn't the final chapter. It was the spark that lit the biggest wave of consequences Stefon has faced yet. Because as soon as the alleged apology hit the timelines, the NFL world started reacting to quietly at first whisper speculation. Insiders leaking little pieces of information, but enough to send everyone into prediction mode. According to leak sources, executives were watching everything closely, not because they cared about his love life. Please, these billionaire owners don't care who these athletes date, but they do care about optics. They do care about marketability, and most importantly, they care about distraction, because Stefon Diggs wasn't just a player with personal drama. He had legal issues. He had public humiliation. He had a reputation for chaos. And now he had a cheating scandal tied to one of the biggest celebrities in the world. Executives started questioning whether he was worth the headache. Sponsors started freezing upcoming campaigns. Negotiations that were once moving smoothly suddenly went silent, and every sports analyst started asking the same question. Is Stefon Diggs becoming unmarketable? According to insiders, one team executive even said off record this situation is bigger than the Super Bowl loss. It's about accountability. Fans don't trust him right now. Harsh words. Words the internet grabbed, ripped apart, and turned into 1,000 memes. Meanwhile, fans were divided, too. Some people suddenly jumped ship, calling him emotionally manipulative, irresponsible, pattern-driven, reckless. Others said the apology not even confirmed, yet showed maturity, growth, humanity, and if anything, made him more relatable. But here's the catch. Controversy doesn't wait for public opinion to stabilize. Keep spiraling. And that's exactly what happened next. Because after the apology rumors, reporters started digging deeper into Stefon's private life. Suddenly, old interviews resurfaced. Old relationships got dragged back online. Old drama found its way back into the spotlight. And the narrative shifted from Stefon Diggs apologizes to has Stefon Diggs always been the problem? Think pieces started popping up on social media. TikTok therapists analyzing his patterns. YouTube commentators breaking down his behavior like he was a case study. Tweets turning him into the poster child for self-sabotage. Even late-night comedians started throwing jabs, and the pressure kept building. But meanwhile, Cardi, untouched, unbothered, unmoved. She didn't say a word. And that's exactly what terrified Stefon's camp, because a response, even a negative one, gives direction. Silence gives nothing but unpredictability. And when it comes to celebrities, unpredictability is dangerous. Some insiders claim Stefon hoped she would at least acknowledge the apology privately or publicly, just so he could know where he stood in terms of co-parenting energy. But she stayed silent. Silent on Instagram, silent on Twitter, silent on tour, silent everywhere. That mattered. And that silence echoed louder than any diss track. But the consequences weren't just emotional, they were financial. Because once the apology rumors spread, brands started distancing themselves. Companies hate scandal. They fear scandal. They run from scandal like it's contagious. And Stefon's name was suddenly too toxic to touch, sources say, at least to endorsement. Deals froze, negotiations as soon as the allegations of cheating and disrespect went viral. One deal reportedly worth 7 figures. Another tied to a sports apparel brand. Both gone or at least paused because of the drama. Both gone or at least paused because of the drama. And that's not even the end of it. Remember the $1.2 million Cardi spent on a Super Bowl after party? That never happened. Social media started dragging him for that again, reminding everyone how he wasted her money through his actions. And while Cardi never complained publicly, the internet never forgets. But the real storm hit when the apology itself began leaking. Not the full text, just pieces, phrases, fragments reportedly from someone who claimed to have seen it. Words like, "I disrespected you. I made choices that hurt our family. You didn't deserve the chaos I brought into your life." You could practically hear the internet catch fire. Screenshots started circulating, and then, though no one knew if they were real, debates erupted. People analyzed the grammar, the punctuation, the tone. They argued whether a man like Stefon would use words like accountability or disrespected. They compared it to his old captions. They searched for codes, patterns, clues. It was chaos. Beautiful, messy chaos. But here's where it gets even crazier. Because while the internet was focused on the apology drama, something was happening behind the scenes that nobody expected. According to multiple insiders, the apology triggered internal discussions within Stefon's team about whether he needed a full public redemption arc. You know what that means? Interviews, press, sit-down conversations, maybe even a documentary style confessional due. His PR team reportedly debated whether he should appear on a major platform like The Pivot or I Am Athlete, or even something bigger like a primetime network special where he clears the air. Why? Because apologies don't heal reputations. Stories do. Narratives do. Controlled, well, produced, carefully delivered narratives. And Stefon desperately needed one. But while his team was planning strategy, internet was doing what the internet does best. Digging into his past. Digging into Cardi's timeline. Digging into every moment they were seen together. Every picture, every caption, every tiny detail that could be reinterpreted in light of the new scandal. And here's the twist. The more people dug into Cardi's old videos and interviews, the more obvious it became. She had been dropping hints for months. Hints about trust, about betrayal, about dishonesty. She wasn't naming him, but the energy was there. And now that the scandal was public, fans connected the dots instantly. Meanwhile, Stefon's apology, real or not, started becoming a symbol, not of healing, not of growth. But if every man who apologizes only after losing everything and the meme accounts went wild, men don't say sorry until the rent is due. Apology after the humiliation tour, sorry only after she glows up. And you know what? Even though people were clowning him, they were also talking about him. Millions of views, millions of comments, millions of stitches. And in this era, relevance, good or bad, keeps you alive even if it burns. But let's talk about the legal side of things, because the scandal didn't disappear into celebrity gossip. No, it started raising eyebrows in legal circles too. Especially because Stefon already had open cases in accountability, apologies, public narratives. These things can impact how judges perceive you, how lawyers negotiate, how settlements happen. Some legal analysts even suggested that the apology could either help him showing remorse and emotional majority, or hurt him admitting to patterns of recklessness. And while all this was happening, Cardi remained silent. A silence that wasn't passive. No, this was intentional silence, controlled silence, strategic silence. The kind of silence only powerful women understand how to use. And that silence fueled the storm even more. Because here's the truth. Stefon apologizing didn't heal anything. It didn't fix anything. It didn't undo anything. What it did do was force the world to confront the reality of their relationship. The good, the bad, the ugly, and the part where everything fell apart. But the story doesn't end with the apology. No, it ends with a question. A question that the entire internet is still asking. What happens now? Because if the apology is real, we're about to witness one of two things. Either Stefon begins a real redemption arc, genuine one. He falls deeper into the chaos that already swallowed his career. So now the question is, after everything we just exposed, everything we just dragged into the light, and everything the internet swears they already knew, what do you think happens next in this wild saga between Cardi B and Stefon Diggs? Do you really think this public apology is the final chapter? Or is this just the calm before the next storm? Because let's be honest, these celebrity scandals don't end. They just rebrand themselves and come back even louder. And knowing how fast Hollywood spins, there's a good chance someone somewhere right now is already leaking the next messy detail. But here's the real deal. I want to hear from you. Whose side are you on? Do you think this apology was genuine or just another PR fire extinguisher before the next explosion? Drop your thoughts below because the comments on this video might just predict the next headline. And while you're here, don't forget to hit that like button, smash the subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next deep dive, the next leak, or the next scandal hiding behind a ring light. Trust me, this story isn't finished. It's just getting warmed up. Warmed up.